is Renisa.
Hey y'all, this is Jen.
And this is our podcast,
Speak Up.
What's up, Jen?
Hey girl.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Glad that we made it to episode 39.
Oh my gosh, 39. Y'all, we're almost at 40.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Time is flying.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, me and Jen are best friends, and we create this podcast to use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self-love and respect.
Yeah. If you don't know by now, well, now you know, right? Self-love and respect are always going to be two things that are super duper important to us.
Yes, I completely agree. So today our title is The Process is Essential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds mysterious, I guess, is the word, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Today we're talking about like trusting the process, like life process, trusting divine order process, that type of thing, and we just thought it was essential to talk about it. See what we did there?
I know.
I'm just kidding. I'm being corny with the episode title, but anyway, we just wanted to touch up on this because I know with like the hustle and bustle of life going on and like feeling like we have to get everything done at a certain amount of time, like we forget that there is a process to this entire thing, that as much as we try to make plans and stuff, like shit happens, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like, obviously, y'all know our podcast focuses on self-love and inner peace, and I think a part of that is just allowing yourself to slow down
Mm-hmm.
and like to trust what's going on around you and trust that things are happening for a reason.
Yeah.
I feel like oftentimes as humans we try to control every aspect of our lives, and honestly that's when shit fall apart, when you trying to control every situation, because you know what, you can't. And when you overplan things, that's when things don't go as you planned it.
Mm-hmm.
You freak out and you just want to give up on life
Mm-hmm.
because it's not going like that. But shoot, the process is very mysterious.
True. Yeah. Sometimes what we think is a no, it's actually hold up, I'm taking you on a better path type of thing. I deeply believe in God, and I do think that I do believe in that post that says like God gives you one of three answers, either not right now, or I have something better, or yes, and I never take things as a no. It's more of like, okay, I'm steering you in another direction. So I feel like with life in general, whether you believe in God or not, like I think it's something important to keep in mind that like things are going to happen in life no matter what type of plan you have. Our plan may look like this, but life's plan is like, all kinds of roller coasters. You may even backtrack sometimes and stuff. We just wanted to, even remind ourselves, like, we do need to slow down sometimes, that it's okay to not have everything figured out yet, right? That it's okay for things to just, calm down for a little bit, especially in a pandemic that we're in. Like, I think, everybody's life is forced to slow down. So it's important that we talk about this today.
Yeah, with the pandemic, nobody was planning this. Mm-hmm. I feel like everything was at a pause. And then, we talk about this too. It's all about perspective. I feel like when we could look at these trials and, just look at the bad of it. Why is this happening? Oh, I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to, or we could just, take the, appreciate the small things, mm-hmm. and go from there and just learn that, okay, this is happening for a reason. Let me just go with the flow of it and see how it turns out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, I think we need to know that things happen the way they're supposed to. We may not always be where we want to be at this very moment or whatever, but, or it's like, why did this happen to me or whatever, but rather like, why did this happen for me? I do think that life is your biggest teacher, mm-hmm. and that sometimes we do have to go through things. I mean, you and I were talking about this today, like sometimes you have to go through things in order to really understand what you're made of, or, learn some things you really didn't know, just so that you can get stronger, or really find out, like, is this something that I do want to pursue after all? Like, so many people have dreams and stuff that they give up on because it gets too hard along the way. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I don't judge people who give up on a dream or anything, as long as I don't, like, as long as I continue these dreams. But it hasn't been easy. Like, I haven't even fulfilled all these dreams. But the thing is, I had to remind myself that things are happening for me the way that they're supposed to be happening. Like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at. So.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, like, sometimes we have to go through bad situations to learn. I think one of the most beautiful giving things in life is the lesson, mm-hmm. and we can't take that for granted. I did one day on my story on Instagram, I don't even know, I just posted something like, we have to look at our mistakes as lessons. I feel like we focus on it was a mistake. That's where that negative self-talk about it comes from. Honestly, if you were in a point in your life when you used to be very naive, things like that, you had to go through that character building experience, or else guess what, you would still be naive. Because I know damn the show hell I would still be naive. I used to look like, well, why did this happen? But it's like, I look at who I am now, and it's like, if I didn't go through half of the shit I went through, I wouldn't be the kind of speaker I am. I feel like the wisest people are the people that have the most experience. It's okay, fuck a textbook, fuck, whatever, some type of education, that's cool and all, but it's nothing like that. Like you said, the life experiences and, and the lessons that you get from, because now you could speak to somebody about it. Doesn't mean someone's always going to listen, but when you have that experience on your belt, it's like a different, and you got through it, it's a different way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
And, going back on faith and God and stuff, it's like, God got us through situations from 5 years ago that we thought we weren't going to get out of. But it's like when you're going through something, always think of that. And I feel like that's a good way to help you climb over that hump when it comes.
Yeah. And I just got to be real. Sometimes we got to fall flat shit on our faces. I mean, that's the only way we're going to learn. I mean, you and I say this, that we're the type of people who have to get our hands burned on the stove to learn.
Hands
right?
off.
And it's like for any type of situation, like whether it's relationships or jobs or, money investments and stuff, like if we had never taken a risk to get towards that, or really like anything in life is a risk, right? Being with somebody or investing in something, or deciding to leave one job for another, or just deciding not to even have a job anymore, and like being full entrepreneur, like everything is just a risk in life. But the thing is, you have to continue to fight, and you have to continue to know that if it's something you're meant to be on, you're gonna fall flat shit on your face. And it sucks to say it that way, but I feel like that's the only way we learn sometimes. If everything was peaches and roses, I don't think anybody would be trying anything, to be honest. Like I know I sure wouldn't. I would just take everything for granted. But when you're like stumbling, you're getting bruised along the way, you learn that it ain't as easy as you thought it was. Like you do learn to appreciate the smaller victories along the way, and I think that's really important. But the only way to actually do that is to fall.
Yeah, it's like that phrase they say, sometimes you fall so low that the only direction to go left is up. And I want to say too, when you're in the process, you work towards something, and you on that point where you fall on your ass, that's how you know who really got your back. I'm gonna just be real about that. That's how you know who to keep around your circle, because sometimes family, friends, you think because of family we give them that name and stuff, like they'll abandon you when you're at your lowest. Friends will turn their back on you. They wait till you pop, and then it's like, oh, that's your friend. You learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about the environment, and then that way when you do come up, you know who the fuck was there for you. When things were happening, because it's cool. It's easy for people to be there for you when things are going well, but what about when I really need something or something? So I think that's another thing you can't take for granted either, is just what you learn while you're down there, because that's when you learn the most. Because I feel like too, when we're in our success moments, you're not really, what's the word I want to say, you're so caught up in your success that you're not thinking about lessons around you. When you're in those low moments, that's where you have that time to think, and you're able to analyze everything around you.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the most successful people in life have had the most fails.
Yep.
Like that's the only way to learn. There's that balance that it all comes from. And yeah, like I'm sure, I mean, even with us, like learning that with your success comes letting go of a lot of people, a lot of old habits, a lot of just things that are no longer serving you. So yeah, when you do finally hit that rock bottom, because you will, whenever you're on any type of journey, you're gonna have that low moment. It's like really gonna be tested. Like, okay, who's here? Am I even here for myself? And I think that's a big one too, because if you really want something, and just because you failed, you decide to give up on it, it's like, okay, are you giving up on yourself in that process too? And I don't think that's fair to do as well. I mean, if you want something bad enough and you continue to go for it, maybe the original plan you had just needs to be tweaked a little bit. It needs to be shown that something better has to come out of this plan, or maybe like instead of plan A, it's like plan B, or plan C, or however many plans, but you continue to go for it. It's not like, oh, well, I tried it, that's it, I suck, I failed, and oh, well, I mean, you're not going to learn anything from that. You just learned what didn't work, but then are you ever going to learn what does work if you just give up?
No, that's well said. Like sometimes we make plans and it will take us on a detour. And I want to say something about that detour. The detour, I would say, is where the process gives you those tools to level up. Because on that detour, that's where you are learning more things to be prepared for when you do level up. Because I want to be real, just because you level up or you hit a certain success point, shit actually gets harder in a way. A lot of more things are tested. There's a new level of challenges, but you need to go through those other things to make you strong enough to get that. It's just like, I mean, we talked about this in one episode. It's like with money, you want to be a millionaire, but if you can't handle being broke, you can't handle $50, spending $50 correctly, how are you going to manage $1 million? So when that big challenge of that lump of money comes, yeah, it's easy to say, I wish I had $1 million right now. But if you blow it, what the fuck?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready to have that? The process, the detour prepares you for that outcome, And I want to say too, we need to stop thinking there's a set time for a certain amount of success. Like, we hear this all the time. By 30, I want to have my marriage and my kids. By this age, it is not the same. I feel like that's a societal norm, socially constructed idea that things have to be done at a certain time. If you're not, you don't have this by this age. Trust me. I understand the basic things. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about how we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make unrealistic goals that are impossible to achieve in that certain amount of time. And I think when we do that, that's that negative self-talk coming in, because when you don't reach that goal, what are you doing? You're most likely to give up or just put yourself down or settle for less because you're like, okay, well, I didn't meet it by this point. I might as well not even do it at all. And that's just something that's very dangerous. And I think that's where trust in the process comes along, because okay, it didn't happen yet, but I'm going to go do it when the time is right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to normalize changing the plan sometimes. It would be ideal by 30 something to have all of everything that you just mentioned, Of course, who doesn't want that? But it's like, it doesn't always happen that way. No one's journey is straight. No one's journey looks like someone else's journey. And just because you're going for the same pathway that somebody else is going doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly the way that it happened for them. Like, we need to be prepared for things to change, because shit happens all the time. And no matter what you're striving for, you're going to hit something along the way. And I think we need to be okay with that. Like you said, don't set yourself up for failure with unrealistic goals. It's okay to have things broken down. Like, you have that big goal and then you broke it down into smaller goals. But, let's say you're trying something and then a life-altering emergency happens, or, something you just didn't see coming gets in your way. So now it's like you have to revamp the smaller plan in order to get to that big plan, right? But how are you going to do that if you're not even okay with that? If you're just like, no, I told myself that by this and this and this, I would have this and do this. That's cool. Like, it's okay to have a general idea, but don't put so much pressure on yourself. And I also wanted to say, make sure your plans are really your plans. Don't let it be because a family member's pressuring you to be married by a certain age, or, that because somebody in your friend group reached a certain financial status at a certain age, so you have to as well. Like, everybody's process looks different, but make sure that whatever plans you're setting for your own life really are coming from you. Like, what realistically can Jen handle? Realistically, what can Vernisa handle? And I think as long as we stick to that, it's going to be a little bit easier to accept changing that plan when the time comes.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to goal set, literally write it completely down, so that way you might have to change it, like you said, in between. And going off what Jen said about everything doesn't look the same, that journey don't look, let's say you and a friend even have the same goals, like y'all both want to be married with kids, whatever, me and Jen's journey is different. There's, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we have similar ideals in life, but there's things that make our life different. You know what I mean? And it's like, if one of us accomplishes something before the other, we don't beat ourselves up about that. It's like, okay, we all have our own journey in life. Yeah, there could be similar things we could talk about and map and brainstorm together, but there are going to be differences. And I think I want to talk about, social media. I feel like it's important to bring that up in every episode of social media. We are constantly comparing ourselves to people. Yeah. So we see our friends, they bought their house, they did this, which is cool. Applaud them, be there, but don't feel like you have to be in competition or you have to go get that house because you said they got the house, so now it's time for you to get one. It's okay to be inspired by people, but do things that are fit for your life. Because I'm gonna be real, you could go and try to chase after somebody's life, but guess what? You're not going to be happy, because in the day, it's ultimately not what's for your spirit or what you really need in your life. So, and then what, if they change to a different house, you're going to do the same thing? No. In the day, we don't know what people are personally going through. So I feel like that's why it is important to stay in your lane and focus on your wants and needs and what is good for you to grow as a person.
And I think it's beautiful to have your own process, your own story. Like, nobody else is going to have that. And I think that's one of the most wonderful parts to discover about life, that, your story is your own, and no one's going to take that truth away from you. And part of that involves the hurdles you had to overcome, the scrapes and bruises that you experienced along the way, like the negative self-talk you had along the way, but then also the transformation that's happening along the entire journey. Like I think that's just wonderful. Like, I love hearing people's stories. I love connecting with people in that way, and just learning about them, because you realize, like, even though we both may be in our mid-20s or whatever, like, our experiences have been so different, and like, you even learn different perspectives and stuff, and it's just cool. Anyway, I'm going on a whole different rant, but I think that's the beauty about everybody's process looking different, that we all have our own unique story to tell. I also did want to mention that sometimes we think that everything in life has to have an explanation, but I've learned that not everything does. Sometimes, or maybe it does, but you just never know it. You never find out what it is. Like, I think this comes specifically to, like, people I've lost along the way and stuff. Like, I've never understood why for certain people, but it's like, maybe I wasn't meant to understand why. Maybe that was a journey they had to take as well to have in their chapter, but in my particular chapter, it just didn't make any sense. So I think we have to learn to be okay with not always having an answer for everything, because that also comes with trusting the process. You don't know what else God is working on, or the universe is working on, that's bigger than you, that seems to affect your life, and you don't even understand why.
In a day, things are aligning the way they're supposed to align, because I feel like if we waste so much time, well, why did this happen, trying to figure it out, guess what, you're stopping your own growth, trying to backtrack to the past. Like, I had to learn that, because I used to be like a person that tried to please everybody, everybody in my life. I was, that I loved. Obviously, I'm trying to make everybody feel good and happy and stuff. So, like, when I would, like, lose a person, along the way, like a being person stopped talking or something like that, I was like sitting there trying to figure out what's, and it was like, I'm stopping where I'm going and stuff. And, like you said, there's a deeper reason. Maybe it's a battle they're fighting alone that I have no clue. And like you said, that God's working on that we don't even know. There's a reason we weren't meant to still be in each other's life because of this, and this, and that's something else to look at. And I want to say too, sometimes, like, life, it will remind you that you're not ready for what you're asking for. Sorry, that you're not ready for what you want.
Yeah.
And I say that because, I'll give an example, like, a person could be single for a while, right? Like, and be sitting there like, I'm ready to be in a relationship, But then life will show you certain things, like give you other pain from people, and those cuts that you're still traumatized from will still show up. I'm gonna be real, that has happened to me. Like, I've been with myself for a while, and like I'll have moments where like I'm like, maybe I am ready to like date again, or like, completely be with somebody, but then things will happen in my life where I'm like old traumas will surprise, like, of something, like triggers will come, and I'm like, oh shit, never mind. Like, imagine me bringing this into a relationship. I'm not ready. I'm not completely healed yet to do that again. So that's like something to take in mind. Like, trust that time, because you may need more time to heal. You don't even know it. Just because you may have been triggered yet, you may think you're fine, but then it takes that one little cut that's going to jab whatever it is, and you realize how much pain you've still been holding on to. But it only comes up through experience. And like, I think that's something big, because yeah, I could stay away from men, right? Not even be around none, nothing like that, but I'm fine. And then like something can happen, or I'm like, oh shit, like, or I can notice I still have certain trust issues from my last, situation or something like that. But I'm not aware of it till that experience comes. But I feel like life will shoot you those reminders sometimes where you're like, oh shit, okay, no. Or like, it can even be like a habit, like you're working towards something, and then you get a certain responsibility and you don't follow through with the responsibility. Okay, I'm not even fucking ready to meet that success goal yet, because I can't even handle that little responsibility. So that's another thing, take it with ease, because life will give you those reminders.
I hope y'all were listening to what Renisa was saying, because honestly, like, especially when it comes to being ready for a relationship, like, you really have to be sure, because when you're bringing in your, everybody's got baggage, so when you're bringing in your own into a relationship or a possible relationship with somebody, you got to remember they have a whole other life outside of you as well. So when both of those come together, and it's like you realize your own triggers from some other situation is coming up in this one, think about what that might be doing to the other person. And I say this because, I was on the receiving end of someone else projecting their trauma onto me, and it's like, it's traumatic, you know, it's scary. When you see that somebody else's insecurities from a past relationship or something are being thrown onto you, like, oh, well, you know, you girls are all like this, or, you know, I knew you would do this because my ex did this or whatever. Like, those aren't words that you should be hearing, you know. So I do think it's important that we all realize this, that we can't bleed onto other people's. I mean, we've talked extensively about this in another episode as well, but I think it's an important point to still bring up, because yeah, we may think we're ready for all this stuff, like, I'm ready to be a billionaire, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to do that. Well, like Vernicia was saying earlier, are you ready to handle $50 in your bank account? Like, how long can you hold on to that? And then if it comes time to spend those $50, what are you spending it on? Because yeah, $50 doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you can't handle $50, think about $50 billion. What are you going to do with all that money? You know, and it's just about, like, being prepared for all of this stuff. Don't get me wrong, nobody's ever actually ready for anything in life, you know, like, but I think it's a point of working with what you've been given, and just reminding yourself to take a step back and be like, you know what, in order for me to not fuck this up, what can I do better? You know, in order for me to continue having this great relationship because I found this great person, what do I have to do? In order for me to continue managing my money so that I can continue towards my financial freedom journey, what do I have to do? But these are questions that require you to dig deep and really figure out what kind of bad habits you have, what kind of traumas you bring with you, you know, all kinds of shit. So it's just something that we need to start really asking ourselves, like, you know, what signs is the universe throwing at me, or God throwing at me, to show me that maybe I'm not necessarily ready for this yet.
That's so true. And it's like about acknowledging if you're ready, and then back to romantic, going off the romantic part, you don't know if somebody else if that person isn't ready for you. You know, I want to say that too, because sometimes we'll meet a person that seems like they have it all together, and we think, well, why haven't they took the next, you know, questioning it, you know, rushing it. Like, well, you know, you've seen people pressure their partner to get with them, to marry them. Maybe that person just ain't ready, and they haven't talked about whatever traumas they're fighting, or just don't want you to. But but keeping it with the process, you know, sometimes they have their own process they're working on, and it's like, I think we have to learn how to understand people's pain and trauma, and learn how to, like, get to know them for them, and try to learn what they're battling. I think there's so much power in communicating that, because I think once a person opens up to you and you can really see what they're going through, they can see what you're going through, that understanding comes in, and that's when you know, okay, how can I move forward with this? Is this even worth moving forward, you know? And then obviously talking about goals and things like that, you know, I just want to say, you know, there's a difference between being patient and not doing the work. Yeah. So this episode, we're talking about trusting the process. We're not saying just sit around, okay, things are going to align, my goal going to happen one day, just sit there. No, we're saying still do the work, the things that you need to do, you know, to get there, and be patient in the process, but don't be lazy about it and just thinking, okay, because I'm meant to be where I am. Because no, you still need to do the steps to get there. We're just saying, don't be misguided when the obstacles do come at you.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point too, because yeah, a lot of people are just like, okay, well, you know, I somewhat tried, I'm just waiting, sitting around here. Or people thinking that things are going to fall into their lap or whatever. Life does not work that way. You know, and don't get me wrong, sometimes I do think we get lucky for certain circumstances. You know, shit goes our way because, I don't know, it was our day, you know, the planets aligned correctly or something, you know, and I do deeply believe in that, but anyway, that's a different story. But it's like, it's not always going to be like that, especially with the bigger stuff, especially with relationships, especially with, like, you know, finances, like, stuff isn't just gonna align for you. Like, shit, even winning the lotto, okay, maybe you got the lucky ticket or whatever, but what you do with that money afterwards, how you manage that money, is part of trusting the process as well, because you need to put in that work. You can't just say, okay, yeah, you know, it's okay if I just continue spending $50,000 here, like, every single day, every single month. Okay, that shit's gonna go quick if you ain't doing nothing correctly with it. You know, and part of, like, being patient with that is to learn how to actually manage the money, how to actually manage relationships, healthy relationships with that. You know, and it can't just be like, okay, well, the other person's going to do the entire work for me, or God's got me, you know, all the way that I ain't got to do nothing. Yes, God's got you, but God's got those who's got themselves, you know, and I think we all need to remind ourselves of that. You know, so I just wanted to put that out there, because we're not condoning laziness. We're not saying, yeah, just sit around, shit just happens whenever you want to. Like, that would be nice. I would sit here all damn day and just, wait for things to fall into place. But, it's just a matter of like, okay, I've done the best that I could do. And, sometimes I just got to wait.
Yeah, and like we were saying, it takes the work. It's like Nipsey say, how long to opportunity means preparation. Like, yeah, you want what you want, but you have to prepare for it, to prepare to receive it. I mean, that's how the law of attraction works too. I could sit here and say I'm gonna be a millionaire, I'm this, that. Okay, I could say I want an amazing romantic partner, but if I'm not doing the inner work, the work that's a part of the process. Me working on myself, healing from everything. How am I gonna attract a better partner like that? I'm like, oh, I want to be a millionaire, but I'm not, I'm not doing, I'm not spending my money wisely. I'm not putting my money in the right place and saving it. Things like that, it's not gonna happen. So that's like the way to just like branch off of that, you know. And I want to say too, once you get to that level of success, or you get that partner you want, whatever process you're on right now, journey you're on, it's like Christina Milian said in Love Don't Cost a Thing when she was talking about the popularity, work to get in, work to stay in. Yep. So it's like, okay, you have your partner you've been trying to manifest, but how are you gonna treat her? You have that money, like you said, are you gonna keep how long are you gonna sustain that wealth? It's the work is never ending. It's about maintaining that. And the process keeps going.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. I don't know what happened. And I love that movie, by the way. Yeah. So I also wanted to emphasize, like, in trusting the process, there's an important factor, and it's faith. And I think no matter what you believe in, who you believe in, like, it's important to just have it along the entire time. Because if you don't have faith that things are going to end up working out, I feel like you're just going to lose all that positivity that you would have had along the way. I think you're just going to, always see things from like a pessimistic view, and it's just not healthy also mentally, because they do say mind over matter, right? Our mind is the strongest factor about us, and a lot of that has to do with faith. Because if you don't have faith, you're constantly just like, oh, well, I knew this shit was going to happen, or, things are just always going wrong, or whatever. But if you have faith, it's like, okay, like, it's just a setback, but, I'm coming back from this. Like, you talk differently, you think differently, therefore you move differently when you have faith. So I just wanted to emphasize that, it's like, it's important to have faith no matter what it is, God, creator, universe, him, I don't know, her, whatever you want to believe in. You need to have something outside of yourself, some sort of belief system bigger than you, because there is something guiding you. I mean, life, we've seen it, throws all kinds of curveballs. So if you believe in those curveballs, you got to believe in the good stuff that comes along with those curveballs as well.
That is well said. Honestly, I love the word faith. I have that word tatted on me, actually. It was actually my first tattoo. And that word speaks volumes, Honestly, how could you do anything in life without faith? Every day we're taking risks. Anything that we do, we take risks. And I think we have to have that, because like you said, that's at the end of the day going to keep us going. You just have to have faith with the fact that everything is happening in its divine order. And I love saying that because it relaxes me. It's like anytime I think like something, oh no, I say those, and it calms me completely down, because when you look at it that way, through that type of scope, it's okay, and I think faith too is accepting the bad parts too, because we all have this notion that things are supposed to be perfect. I'm sorry, any successful person that we see in any healthy relationship, they went through their shit to get there. It wasn't like they woke up and they had, you got people who inherited money, things like that, but to keep certain things, it took something. But you have to have faith in those challenges. Okay, it's a reason for this happening. I'm gonna need this lesson, things like that. And when you have that, I feel like you'll have a peace of mind, especially when you're working towards something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think faith, or faith removes that pressure from things being perfect. And we realize that we are just, flesh and bone living this world with the consciousness, and I think it's a good thing to remind ourselves every now and then, because you're gonna go through some horrible times in life, but you're also gonna go through some extremely beautiful times in life, and you need to learn from all of them. You need to learn from the pain, the laughs, like the people that you come along as well. Like, I always look at everybody that I meet, I'm always like, okay, what can I learn from this person? And call me crazy, or, the wannabe teacher in me, you know, but I just think like it's amazing because I learn from people every single day, whether they're a 5-year-old with a candy in their mouth or they're an 80-year-old with the cane in their hand. Like, I just think it's a beautiful thing to learn from all kinds of people, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that you learn from them, whether they made you cry because they hurt you to your soul, or whether they made you laugh until, you know, your soul left your body, like how we've had. Yeah, like those are just the amazing moments to appreciate, you know, and I think it's all part of the beautiful journey we call life. And the thing is, we need to learn to just accept it and realize we're just learning. All we're trying to do is improve ourselves from yesterday, from 5 years ago, you know, to become a better us tomorrow, every single day. So just learn. Like, I love learning all kinds of things. So just wanting to throw that out there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say never stop learning, because learning is how we grow. Like Jen said, like you can learn from literally anybody, because in the day, people have different walks of life, people have different experiences, so it completes those missing pieces in the puzzle when you can sit with somebody and just learn anything. Like you said, whether they made you cry, they made you laugh, there's always some type of lesson with anybody that you have contact with, you know. And like one more sentence about faith, you know, use faith as that bridge over the fire, you know, to get you through that. And another thing too, y'all, it's okay to not have everything figured out. We all wing in this life, all of us. Like, not all of it, we all don't have the answers. I feel like every day, and I feel like every hat that you step into, you're learning something new. Okay, you can reach that level of success, but that's a whole new lesson right there. Like, some new challenges are going to be thrown at you, different types of people, different relationships, different emotions. So it's like every day is a learning process. So it's okay to not have it. And even if you're like you're lost and you're still working towards something, keep trying different things. Never stop taking risks. Okay, plan A didn't work, jump to plan B. Do what you need to do. Research, talk to people, find a mentor, you know, talk to someone who's already done it. You know, there's so much power in, like, and I think some people, they think you know, like, this life will humble you. You walk this planet thinking you know everything, this life will show you that you fucking don't. I'm gonna be real, because I used to think I know a lot. No, like, it's something beautiful about being the student, because, you know, once you're the student for a while, you can become the teacher. And once you become, but the teacher had to be the student first.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like we all should just be humble, especially when we're trying something new, and learn. And, you know, even if you already have success, you can always be better. You know, there's always somebody who's done a step higher, you know, and, you know, take notes. And like, that's one thing about life. I feel like when you possess that energy that you want to learn more and grow yourself, those opportunities will be thrown at you naturally.
That's true. You know, going back to what Vernice was saying about winging it, look at us winging this whole pandemic.
Lord.
Like, we do not know what we're doing, you know, and like, it's a collective traumatic experience for everybody, you know. So I just think it's important to realize, like, we don't have it all figured out, you know. Whatever plans anybody had during this pandemic, whether it was towards financial freedom, or it was like, you know, switching jobs, or it was like being with somebody and then you realize it didn't work out because y'all in quarantine too damn long, can't stand each other after all. Like, you know, I think it's just something that like took everybody to a slap in the face, and it's like, oh shit, like, you got to rewrite your entire plan and everything, but that's okay. Like, you know, we're all just trying to figure this thing called life out, you know. Like, we all don't know what we're doing, and even those of us that do, it's like, now, you know, we have to learn things a different way as well, because being in a pandemic with like technology and, you know, the racial tensions that are going on or have been going on, you know, along with what's going on with our government, like, it's just a lot going on for everybody to try to digest, you know. And like, you just see everybody with their damn masks, you don't know what anybody looks like anymore. Like, you know, it's just a lot that nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. So it's okay, you know. And that took me a long time for me to realize and actually be okay with, like, Jen, you don't have everything figured out, because I'm that type of person where it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing, I know what I want, and I know where I'm going. But it's like, with all of this, I don't. You know, like, as much as I have my plan and have rewritten my plan, I'm continuing to write my plan over again, because sometimes, you know, a bad day turns into 2 bad days or 3 bad days, and it's like, I'm set back even more time. Now I realize we're more than halfway through the year, and it's like, oh shoot, what I wanted to accomplish for 2020 really got put on a hold. You know, I'm having to stretch out my even like March plans up until July, because it's just like, you know, things are just so crazy, and just chaotic right now. So just letting everybody know it's okay. Like, nobody knows what we're doing. You know, we're all just trying to figure this thing out one step at a time.
That's so true. And literally, like, your life can change in a blink of an eye. And I feel like that's what happened to all of us. And that's why it's important. I feel like in the day, this pandemic showed you have to be grounded with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, this has revealed a lot. There's people who can't sit alone, like I said, who can't sit with their family, or who just know, like, went to their job for escape, and, like, now that's out. Or, like, people who had all this money, also their money was in the stock market and stuff they don't know what to do. It's like, that's why in the day you have to be true with yourself, be right with your spirit, right with God. All those things, you know, will help you get through tough times like that. And, you know, take, like, right now I feel like this is the perfect time to just count your blessings. You know, I feel like we're back to the basics. Just, you know, people are actually having normal conversations. You know, people can't even go on dates. What are they doing? They're getting food together and sitting in the car, eating, going to the beach, sitting in nature. I see more people doing picnics at the park because we're back to the basics. And I think it's something beautiful about that, reminding us that, you know, we are human, that we can't just speak. Because think about it, before this shit happened, people were just on the go. People were slaving like crazy, superficial. People didn't know how to talk anymore. It was more like materialistic. I got this, I got that. Now what? You post a picture with your cute outfit. Where are you going? What are you doing? That doesn't matter. How much money you got? None of that stuff matters right now. It's really about who are you as a person. I feel like 2020 has revealed everything about people. Like, I feel like I've been seeing really been seeing people for who they are. Really been second guessing certain relationships in my life. You know, and it's just like, take this time to do that inner work, to really find yourself, find really what you want out of life. Take materialistic out of it. Really, what do you want as a human being? What is your spirit craving? And I feel like those are the things to ask yourself during the process, because this is a part of the process. Because I feel like you can't completely know what you want out of life till you know who you are, and this process will show you that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this entire thing has made me appreciate, like, family and just people a lot more, you know, because like, your financial status doesn't mean anything. It never has, never should have to begin with, but now it's like, you know, even less. And I personally can say, like, with this whole trusting the process, especially during a pandemic, like, it's brought me closer to my family, like, specifically, like, my stepdad. You know, I'm spending a lot more time with him. Like, I'm getting closer to him in different ways. So, you know, it's just healthier for me to be able to express myself to him. And I feel like, if I hadn't been forced to slow down and, like, be home more often and stuff, you know, I wouldn't have been able to have this experience. So I think it's awesome, like, just realizing what kinds of good things have changed as well during something like this, because, you know, as much as we say trusting the process, like, it's scary not knowing what's happening, you know, not having things figured out anymore. Like, I tend to be a control freak at times too, so I'm like, oh shit, you know, like, what's gonna happen now? But it's like, now I'm way more grounded, and it's like, you know, I just enjoy things day by day. Like, really allow yourself to experience the 24 hours ahead of you. Like, okay, you know that tomorrow is a different day, but just worry about, you know, counting what's here, like, you know, being grateful for the roof over your head, being grateful for your health, you know, being grateful that you do know when your next meal or what your next meal is, you know, being grateful just for the heart that you have and that you're still able to connect with people around you. Just everything that you can bring to this world, and everybody has gifts that they can bring. Just be grateful for that. Give yourself a pat on the back. Like, give yourself a damn pat on the back for surviving about 4 months of quarantine and pandemic, or in this pandemic, and just, you know, not realizing what tomorrow brings, but you're still going to be here anyway. You're still going to try your best if God allows you to wake up. So I just think it's cool to be able to do this. And I think this is the big part that relates to self-love, about trusting the process, because you're learning you know, you're learning what you're capable of, what you can handle, you know, and then also, like, what kind of impact you can make on people, and just knowing that it's okay to be flawed, and that it's okay to not know everything, but that you're still important. That doesn't make you any less human. It doesn't make your journey any less important. It just means that, you know, everybody's journeys looking like this right now. You know, like, one day we may be super motivated and everything, and then the next we're not, but it's okay. You know, that's part of trusting the process, and just loving yourself enough to continue through the process, even if you don't know what's over that bridge.
Oh, well said. And honestly, I think this pandemic is forcing us to trust the process, because, like, we can't control this. This is like the most uncontrollable thing that's ever happened. You know what I mean? So that's another thing I feel like. And then I want to say, you know, adding on, I think it relates to self-love too, because when you're trusting the process, you're allowing yourself to take pressure off of yourself. You know, I feel like we're not fully loving ourselves when we're constantly beating ourselves up, putting pressure, putting ourselves down and stuff. You know, so when you trust it, it's like you're giving yourself that break. You know, you're not being mean to yourself, you know, because you're not getting mad at yourself, you're not getting frustrated, you're just like, okay, this is happening, I'm doing the best I can. And then I feel like in the day you're motivating yourself from within to keep pushing and to keep going to whatever you're trying to accomplish.
I also know that like during this pandemic, a lot of like suicide rates and depression rates have gone up. I know it's hard, you know, so yeah, if you can't do it alone, of course don't. You know, talk to a professional, talk to a loved one, you know, go out for a walk, go out in nature. Like, I'm a huge mental health advocate, so, you know, that's definitely always going to be important. Mental health comes first before anything. You can't do anything in life if your mental health is not right. So, you know, if you do need that extra help, don't ever feel like you're weak. It doesn't make you weak. It just makes you human. And again, what we're going through is a collective trauma. So it's fair to be scared, you know, to not know what's happening, or to be depressed because you're losing things or people around you, either because of COVID or, you know, just because of the pressures that are happening on right now. So that's also trusting the process that, like, I need something, I need help, you know, and the only way I can seek that is if I find professional help. So that's just a little, you know, blurb in there, but definitely just know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be in this moment. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of this, that like part of trusting the process is just knowing that I may not be where I want to be, but I'm exactly where I should be. And, you know, I'm trusting God enough to know that this is where I'm supposed to be. 26 years old, you know, in front of the camera, just hopefully speaking life into people and pouring love into people, but also doing that for myself, because every time I talk to you guys, every time I talk to you, best friend, like it helps, you know, knowing that we're not alone in any of this, because this is exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yes, exactly. Because I feel like we're hurting ourselves at times, like, I should have been doing this, should have been doing that. Okay, like, and then if you're questioning where you're at or whatever, start, you know, do the motivating things that it takes to get to wherever you're trying to go. Because I feel like sometimes too, when we think we're not where we're supposed to be, sometimes that is that little that's the process in our ear, like, okay, well, you know, putting fire under your ass. Because I feel like too, moments in life will happen where that little fire is put on you. But like I said, like Jim was saying, we are exactly where we're supposed to be at this moment. I feel like when you do that, you're able to trust the process and trust the divine order of everything. Yeah, so we hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. Real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to my homegirl Kiona. Actually, so I'm rocking her lipstick right now from her line, Oh My Cosmetics. This one's called Brave. I just wanted to shout her out real quick, but you can check out her Instagram at OHMYKOSMETICS. She got lip gloss, she got matte lipstick, she got eyeshadow, she got it all. So y'all tap in, support a black business. You know, I'm loving this color. You know,
it's beautiful,
posing on it. But y'all tap in. We'll include her Instagram for y'all.
Thank y'all.
And don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube video. Thank you for everybody that's been tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, iTunes, apparently iHeartRadio. Always do this. Is that it? Oh, and Podbean at SpeakUpJV.podbean.com. And our Instagram is at SpeakUpJV. We appreciate y'all.
And there's a quick little, or a surprise something going on with our podcast. We will let y'all know when it happens, but just be on the lookout for that.
Yes, stay tuned.
We love y'all. Bye.